I'm good.
Good. You good?
Any questions for Coach?
Nope.
I'm good.
See, NC State, talent-wise, maybe the most overall talent, top to bottom, you guys will face this year?
You know, they're certainly as good as anybody will face this year, no question. Got a couple really highly recruited, talented freshmen, and obviously with Turner and Lacey, the kid who's sitting out from Alabama. I mean, they've got a quality backcourt, and Cat Barber is a highly recruited kid. So you look at them on paper, I mean, they're probably as talented team, or maybe the most talented team we face all year. Although, SMU, we've got some good teams in our league, but they're certainly right there with anybody.
Does it help any with Lacey that you guys saw him at Alabama, so not really a surprise on what he can do in terms of a scouting report?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much film out there now, with the way things are. We played against him, but we see him so much on film that we got a pretty good idea what he can do.
On the interior, B.J. Anya playing at a pretty high level. You mentioned freshman Abdul Malik Abu. How much of a factor are those guys around the rim? I think they're top 5 in the country in block shots right now.
Yeah, I mean, they're a team like us. I mean, they make up for a lot of defensive mistakes because they can block shots. And B.J. Anya's, he's an odd guy because he's so big. I mean, usually guys his size don't move their feet well enough to go block shots or can't get off the floor well enough. But he's a guy that even at 270, 280, whatever he really is, then he can still get up, block shots. He's got great timing, and he's long for a big, stocky guy. So he presents a problem in there. You got to take it like all shot blockers. You have to take it at your chin. If you leave space, he's going to go get it. And they got some other athletic guys on the front line. They got real size.
Is this maybe a game where Corey might be a little bit more of an impact because B.J. Anya's so big?
Yeah, there's no question. I mean, Corey's, I think, beginning to come on as a player. He's played better and better in the last few games, and we have to utilize him in this game. He's certainly a guy, because of his body size, can help neutralize him, and he's a guy can probably be effective against him scoring-wise because he's just as big as B.J. is.
What can you do to get some things going in terms of consistency at the 2 and 3? Because it seems like the 1, the 4, and the 5, offensively at least, are fairly consistent in where they're at every night, but the 2 and the 3 is kind of up and down from game to game.
Well, I think a lot of it is just we've got youth in that position, and they got to get confident. They didn't start off the year just banging in threes right and left and that, and now Kevin played much better in the last game against Wagner. If it's just a matter of them growing up and getting some games under their belt. They don't have to go out and get 28 or 30, but if they can just get 2 or 3 games in a row where they get double digits and what you're talking about, then we become consistent and we know what we can count on. And a lot of that's confidence. And I got to put them in scoring positions. I got to run some stuff with them that gets them, in position they don't have to create a shot themselves. They can get an easy shot, get them going a little bit, and then it's easier.
Head coach been like riding a bike?
Well, yeah, but like when you get back on that bike the first time, you may be a little awkward at first, and then as you do it more and more, it gets a little smoother. And certainly there was a couple of days of transition for me. I mean, again, to go back to the VCU game, it was a little like being in a fog. You just couldn't believe everything was happening, and to be able to turn that focus to going back to remembering now you're not suggesting, you're making the decision, and you got to make decisions, and you have to make them quickly. As an assistant, you get to sit over there and you get to analyze, and before you open your mouth and say something, you kind of think it out. And when you're a head coach, it's literally second to second. You have to be on top of it. You have to be making decisions, and you have to react quickly. So it takes a minute or two to adjust to that. I myself personally, I felt like I was better in the Wagner game. Not just because we won, but I just felt like I was more comfortable, and I've been more comfortable in practice the last few days. So as we move forward, hopefully I'm riding the bike like Lance Armstrong, not like some 2-year-old.
You're facing your second, real road game. You feel like the experience at Nebraska, even being a loss, but the crowd and then being on the road helps you guys tomorrow.
Well, Nebraska was a great test because they have a great home crowd. They sell out every game, and it was it was packed house that night. And they're great fans, they cheer for their team. And, Mick and the whole staff really felt like in that game we grew up a little bit on the road. And we hung together. Even though we didn't win the game, we had an opportunity if we make some free throws. make smarter play on one or two things, we had a real chance to win that game in a tough environment. So hopefully that experience helps us at NC State. It'll be a packed house and against a high quality opponent. So we got to be ready to go.
What's the situation with you and Mick? Does he go over notes with you and just talk to you on the phone or in person? Or
he's the GM right now. He's Pat Riley. Mick's heavily involved. He's still watching tape. He's still analyzing things. He's recruiting stuff that he can do. He's doing, and we talk every day. We text, we talk. He's been coming to the office, so it's great to have him back there and with his experience. And we do it as a group. We've always done it as a group. He's always been the head coach, obviously, but he's always been great about everybody's input, and then he makes the decisions. And we're still operating that same way. He's heavily involved in the game plan and trying to get our guys ready. He just can't be in practice every day and can't be on the bench.
He may not know timeline. Does he share anything? Does anybody know anything?
At this point, he's feeling better. He's listening to his doctors, and they got to decide all that. And he doesn't. Mick's a private guy anyway, but he doesn't want us worrying about that. He says, "Hey, you guys worry about let's win games," and because he's still that competitive fire hadn't gone away. That I can tell you, not in the least bit. So I let him worry about that, and when he knows, I'm sure he'll tell everybody. But he tells us just worry about the games.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Thank you.